maybe focusing on the goals is not the solution. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you insight on maybe why goals may be distracting you from actually accomplishing what you want to accomplish. But before we get down to the nitty gritty, hit the like, subscribe button, and subscribe to the Seeds YouTube channel, and pass these messages on to people you know that it can impact their lives in a very positive manner. Now, my nephew had a game yesterday, and I could tell he was a little bummed out in the beginning of the game because he missed a few shots, and you can tell when he sat down on the bench, his energy was low. Now, he's a starter, and he's progressing well because last year was his first year in playing basketball. But as the game went on, he started getting a rhythm, and then as we generally do with all my children, we have talks on the way home. You know, those dad talks can be very long. And I can tell he was still a little bummed, and I asked him why. He would say, well, I don't know how many points I got, and I told him you shouldn't be focused on points. You know, that's not really an indicator if you are doing well. How are you impacting the game? And he still couldn't get it. And then we went into cooking. I was like, well, what's your favorite meal? Now, I'm just letting you know the conversation wasn't this nice. My energy started to raise, and I started to get more passionate. I said, well, what do you like to cook? I mean, what do you like to eat? And one of our favorite dishes is doing rice. And I told him, well, you have the raw chicken, you have the tomatoes, you have all the spices, the onions, the tomato paste, the oil. And I said, can you eat it like that? And he's like, no. I said, well, once you put everything together, then you can eat, correct? He's like, yes. I said, you're forgetting that it's not the outcome you focus on, it's the process. Because if you focus on the process, then the outcome's going to come. We can't control outcomes. You can be the best. And I told him, you can be the best player on your team and still lose. But it doesn't mean that you didn't get better. When you look at Genesis chapter 1, you see that the purpose of God making earth was for us to live in it, for us to enjoy his abundance. He created us in their image, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. But that he knew the end already. He's the Alpha and the Omega. God knows the end from the beginning. And I had to position not only my nephew, but my other children in the car, their mindset on the process. So let's look at Genesis, how God positioned earth and the heavens for us to be able to enjoy. So it says in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless and void. Then after that, he said, let there be light. Then after that, he says the first day, and it was good. And after that, he separated the waters. And the second day, it was good. And the third day, it was good. And the fourth day, it was good. And the fifth day, it was good. And man was the last day we were created in his image, right before the day of rest, the seventh day. God knew the end. So if you see his divine wisdom and his understanding, even though he knew what his purpose was of what he wanted to do, he created everything in a process with systems, with steps. And before he went to the next step, he completed that first step, and then it was good. Complete that second step, then it was good. Are we missing what God has for us because we're trying to negate the process? We're trying to negate the steps, all because we're focused on the outcome. I can be frank with you right now that I've done that. I've so focused on the outcome that all my steps are all over the place. And there's a consistency with God. And if we're supposed to imitate God, then we need to imitate all of his kingdom principles. Process. Complete the first step. Complete the second step. The consistency of doing it. And right before we were created, Everything that we needed was there. I want to now put your mind in seed form, right? I told my nephew that when you are on the basketball court, right now, you want to be here, but you're on the lowest level of value. When you think about the seed, and what I told him, when you think about the seed, when the seed is in your hand, you can't do nothing with it. There's no fruit that you can you can get from there. So as you are thinking about where you are in your life, you may be in seed form. And there's no value that the seed can give. So once we plant the seed in the ground, then the seed starts to get to work. Most of the work that we're going to have to do is going to be in the dark. Nobody's going to be clapping for you. Nobody's going to even see the full value. Just like when I told them about the story of cooking, when you have all the ingredients before you can even eat, it's nothing. I can't just give you tomato spices in your hand and you eat that, say it's going to be good. No. So same thing as you're thinking about your situation. God, we place this in a seed form. Your talents, your gifts. And then the seed has to get to work. It has to open up, get in the ground, and then the roots have to go down first. It has to learn how to get nutrients. It has to go down further enough, because before you can go up, you must go down. That's chaotic. And to be honest, nobody's going to say good job. They're not even going to recognize you. There's nothing you can do. So we're trying to give value in a form that can't give value, right? Everything that's in the tree is in the seed. It's just the presentation is different. Seed form is when you're growing, getting everything down, cleaning out that heart, cleaning out that head. In the Bible, in Proverbs 24, verse 27, it clearly talks about that. Complete the outside work, prepare the field, then build the house. As you are coming up in the stage, make sure you understand what form you're in. It's okay that you're growing. It's a process. So now let's think about the cooking. Once we completed all the necessary stuff, we cut the onions, we cut the bell peppers, we cut the tomatoes, we put everything in the blender, and now we put it in the pot to start mixing, to start coming together. That's the process now. We've done the outside work. Now we're preparing. Are you in a situation where you think you're ready to be served, but you still need to be in the oven to be cooked? Come on now. Come on, let's be honest, because I've had to be honest with myself. I had to be honest. Why isn't this working? Well, Kingsley, it may not be working because you may not be valuable yet. You may not have cooked long enough. While it's cooking, it has a set time. That's why in the Bible it talks about due season. And when you look at the seed, before you get to the seed, when you look at the first command that he told man, he said, be fruitful and to be multiplied. Well, before you can bear fruit, the fruit has to come. Just because now you're starting to see sprout, you're starting to see growth, and you start to see a little bit of fruit, the fruit may not be able to be eaten yet. How can you be fruitful yet? Let the process, focus on the steps, be consistent, be diligent. Let the process work. Let it keep working on you. Let it keep working on you. Let it keep working on you. So then when the fruit is right, now you can let the fruit work for you. In Ecclesiastes 10:10, it talks about if the axe is dull and one doesn't sharpen it, one would exert much strength. But wisdom is profitable for success. Before the work can work for you, before that wisdom, that mastery can work for you, you have to let it work on you. You have to first be aware of what you don't know. You then are starting to gather knowledge. Then that knowledge has to start connecting for understanding. And then when you're deep enough, then you have mastery. Then you're in a situation where you can actually start profiting off of your wisdom. If you're trying to be a better person in this, then the process has to keep working, heat, pressure, testing in a way that once you come out the oven, you're a beautiful dish ready to be served. Give yourself patience. Give yourself grace to work on yourself. In my book, Be Do Have, where's my book at? Yep. My book, Be Do Have. When I wrote my first book, I didn't know what I was doing. And even though I'm writing my second book, it's still a process. Now, I was down like, man, I didn't sell as much as I wanted to, but the work worked. It's working on me still. Learning how to be creative in your talking. Learning how to tell stories to drive points. Learning how to engage people when you're talking. Learning how to get people across the bridge with the story. Learning how to have closing statements to drive the point. All that has to happen. And before it can be profitable for me, I have to go through the process. You have to go through the process. That's the only way it's going to work. Be fruitful and multiply. Everything starts as a seed. So while you looking at your situation, while you thinking about, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? It's okay. Some things are going to be learned through the journey. So what can we take from this message? Well, what I want you to learn and pick up from is that the process matters, not the outcome. Being consistent with the process is going to produce the bountiful outcome you're looking for. And sometimes this door, for you to get to this big door, you got to work here, and this door may open and you be like, oh, it didn't work out. But then it's used to pull you to a bigger door. Just like Joseph, every step of the way before he became the prime minister of Egypt, those doors were closed because he needed to go through another process. The door was closed, that he needed to go to another process until eventually he became the person who allowed his other siblings, the Israelites, to come to Egypt and to be in Egypt for 400 years to fulfill the prophecy that God told Abraham. All it needs for you is to work on the process. Be diligent on the process. So learn the process. Learn what consistency looks like. Learn what the diligence looks like. Tweak the process until you can get something where you can consistently produce. And so how can you apply this to your life? Well, one of the things you can apply is patience. Patience is needed for all of us. Because as you're going through the process, you may want to rush it. Somebody may be in your ear. Why are you doing this? They may not be able to see, because every vision that God gave you is for you. They may not be able to hear God was telling you. Everybody ain't meant to be told everything that you're doing. Do the process, do the work. So apply patience to yourself. If you're being consistent, you're being diligent, it may not look how you want it right now, but as you keep being consistent, you keep tweaking, the patience is going to bear fruit. Then lastly, refining. As you keep going and you're learning to accept the process, to be trained by the process, and you're applying patience, start getting mentors, wise counsels to help you refine. Make sure you're talking to God about giving you strategy, about giving wisdom. Remember, the Bible talks about trusting all his ways, lean on to your understanding. Wisdom and understanding comes from God. Strategy comes from God. Ask him for the grace to execute diligently each day, because your victory should be glorifying him. God doesn't want lack in your life. If you're abundant and you can speak, you have a testimony, you've been through a test, you've been through some mess, and it's turned to your message. That test has turned to your testimony. That glorifies God, because it may be somebody who needs to hear that to keep going. It may be somebody, it's not for everybody, but somebody who needed that one word that God can do it, that if you stay on his path, that your way would be prosperous, your way would be successful. Then that person could be the person that God intended to be fruitful in another territory. So at the end, remember, the work, before the work can work for you, it has to work on you. Enjoy becoming, because after you becoming, you can do. And after you can do, you can have the life that God always wanted for you. Until next time, talk to you soon.